Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're talking about a massive, fundamental shift in how we actually think about growing. We're stepping away from that really exhausting, never-ending cycle of just dumping synthetic chemical inputs into the ground. Instead, we want families to grow real food again and take back their health and their land. So we're going to look at exactly how to activate vibrant, self-sustaining biological life right in your ground using the VermiGold framework. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this quote. It's not your fertilizer, it's your soil. See, most people out there think they have a fertilizer problem, right? But what they actually have is a soil biology problem. For decades, conventional ag has basically conditioned us to treat the earth like it's this sterile hydroponic sponge. We just pour expensive chemical fixes into what is essentially dead dirt. And then we just watch those chemicals wash away while the whole system starves. It's a painful, super expensive cycle. Honestly, we need to completely shatter the illusion that treating our land this way is working. Spoiler alert, it's not.
Just look at this contrast here. It's pretty striking. Over on the left, you've got living soil, and it is literally teeming with microbes, bacteria, fungi, the whole shebang. This is a system where nutrients are actively cycled and delivered right to the plant on demand. But then look on the right. That is inert, compacted, totally lifeless dirt. It can't support diverse life at all. The entire VermiGold paradigm is all about taking that dead dirt on the right and re-inoculating it with a premium, holistic living soil mix. You're bringing that underground workforce back to life so the soil actually does the heavy lifting for you.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the dead soil problem. Then, the core philosophy. After that, we'll break down the 6 growth system levers, look at the implementation timeline, and finally wrap up with long-term ecosystem possibilities.
Section 1, the dead soil problem. Let's look at the root of the issue.
Dead dirt. It's a really harsh reality for a lot of growers out there. It's basically a compacted, lifeless hydroponic sponge that requires constant, and I mean constant, external chemical inputs just to function. You see, conventional methods like excessive tilling, leaving ground bare, dumping heavy synthetic salt fertilizers, all of that has completely stripped the life out of the land. And when you bypass that microbial economy entirely just to feed the plant directly, the whole underground ecosystem collapses. Your soil becomes nothing more than a physical anchor to hold the roots in place. And that leaves you with an environment where your plants are 100% dependent on you for every single drop of synthetic nutrition.
Moving on to Section 2, the core philosophy. It's time to return to living soil.
And this brilliantly illustrates the solution. It's the VermiGold G.R.O.W.T.H system. This is a proprietary 6-lever framework specifically designed to build living soil ecosystems. And listen, these aren't just random tactics thrown together. They are 6 core principles that function as one interconnected living system. In fact, every single decision a regenerative grower makes basically traces back to one of these 6 levers.
Which brings us right to Section 3, the growth system levers. 6 principles, 1 system. Let's break them down.
All right, first up, the G. This stands for grow biology. Think of this as the engine for everything else we're going to talk about. Biology drives the whole system. The bacteria and fungi, they are your workforce. The bacteria are busy decomposing organic matter, while the mycorrhizal fungi are out there building literal microbial highways. I mean, they extend way past the plant's roots to go mine for water and locked up minerals, and then deliver them right back to the plant. It's incredible. And remember, when you apply VermiGold, you are not applying a chemical. You're delivering a massive community of live organisms in a single application to jumpstart this entire engine.
Next up is the R, which stands for root continuity. This is the energy flow of the whole operation. Living plants are constantly releasing sugars, which we call root exudates, directly into the soil. Why? To feed those beneficial bacteria and fungi. It is literally a microbial feast down there. But here's the catch. Living roots have to be in the ground 12 months a year. If you pull your crops and leave the beds bare, the roots stop, and that entire underground system starves. So you've got to use a regional strategy. For example, planting winter rye and daikon if you're up in Cedar City, or going with cowpea and sorghum Sudan down in St. George. Whatever it takes to keep those roots active year-round.
That leads us straight into O, which is organic cover. This is your shield. There's a great rule of thumb here. Bare ground is a wound. Cover it. Seriously, think about a blistering hot July day. Bare desert soil can easily hit 150 degrees Fahrenheit. But get this, our crucial soil microbes, they start dying off at just 130 degrees.
So bare ground is basically a slow death sentence for your biology. But if you just maintain a 2-inch layer of organic mulch, you'll drop those surface temperatures by 30 to 50 degrees. That protects your biology, conserves moisture, and keeps that engine running smoothly.
Now take a look at this number, 16,000 plus gallons. That brings us to W, water retention. The soil is hands down the cheapest reservoir you will ever build. For every 1% gain in your soil's organic matter, your land can hold an additional 16,000 plus gallons of water per acre. That's huge. Because you're using biology to bind soil particles together into stable aggregates, you end up creating these tiny pore spaces that act like a giant underground sponge, holding water naturally and drastically reducing runoff.
So the crucial point is, how does this all connect? Well, that's T, total ecosystem. This right here is the multiplier. Think of it like this. No input works in isolation. If you pour an expensive amendment onto bare, dead dirt, it's like a half-paid invoice. It just can't do its job. But when you apply that biology to soil that's mulched and full of active roots, the system multiplies the parts. A balanced, highly diverse ecosystem naturally supports plant immunity and brings in beneficial predators. That keeps harmful pest pressure totally in check, naturally, which means significantly lower input costs for you over the long haul.
Finally, the H brings it all back to you. Human plus soil harmony. The grower isn't just some observer, you're an active participant, a steward of this system. This means getting out there and conducting weekly observation walks. It literally means getting your hands dirty and smelling your soil to check for anaerobic stress before you ever reach for a spray bottle. When you know your ground that intimately, you can spot issues 2 whole weeks before they become catastrophic crop losses. The system absolutely rewards the grower who actually shows up. And honestly, that's a yield gain no product on the shelf can ever match.
Section 4. The implementation timeline. Let's look at the rebuilding journey.
Let's move to the timeline and see how this actually builds. It's a journey, not an overnight chemical fix, and it happens in 3 distinct phases. Phase 1 is the rebuild phase, covering the first 1 to 3 months. This is all about stopping the bleed, ending that chemical dependency, and laying the foundation with your anchor drench and mulch. Then we move into Phase 2, activate, over months 4 through 6. This is where that microbial economy really wakes up. It starts feeding the plants and suppressing pests completely on its own, and you'll really see your yields start to diverge from the conventional baseline. By Phase 3, the Thrive phase, which covers months 7 to 12, the system becomes a beautifully self-reinforcing machine.
Section 5, Long-Term Ecosystem Possibilities. Let's talk about the compounding return.
So here is the true compounding return on investment of the VermiGold paradigm. As you align all 6 of those growth levers, you'll see your reliance on costly synthetic inputs go down, but your crop performance is going to go way up. Your soil will physically darken. You'll literally start seeing earthworms appear where there used to be none. And the absolute best part of all this, the biology down in the ground ends up working much, much harder than you do. You've officially transitioned from trying to force growth with chemicals to facilitating massive, natural growth with the Earth's own systems.
And that leaves us with this final, powerful thought. In regenerative agriculture, we don't just add inputs. We activate life. Every single choice you make either feeds that ecosystem or it starves it. So as you look at your own land and you think about the future of your food, you really have to ask yourself, what kind of legacy will your soil leave behind? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Get out there, start pulling those growth levers, and watch your soil come back to life.